Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today we talk about the 10 best independent horror movies of 2023.
She's regenerating.
And let's get to the list. Influencer is a 2022 mystery horror thriller. Directed by Curtis David Harder and co-written by Harder and Tesh Gudakanda. It stars Emily Tennant, Cassandra Nod, and Sarah Canning. While on a solo backpacking trip in Thailand, Madison, a social media influencer, meets CW, who travels with ease and shows her a more uninhibited way of living. But CW's interest in her takes a dark turn.
Change of plans. I made a new friend. Looks like I'll be staying here for a while longer. We're going to explore the country.
This is a movie that really has been flying under the radar. You don't hear almost anyone mention it whatsoever, and I think it's actually really well put together. It's gorgeously shot. I really enjoyed the cast. It's captivating and entertaining. Just the whole ride of it feels fun. But yet it's intriguing and mysterious with a lot of psychological thriller elements as well. And to be honest, there's some pretty creepy notions and ideas in it. Now, it's not anything gory or wild or savage in that regard, but the ideas of horror are what are really here. The concepts and things that happen, that's what makes this movie a horror movie. But I think it's a solid little film that definitely deserves more attention and absolutely deserves a spot on your list. Malum is a 2023 horror movie. Directed by Anthony DiBlasi, it's a reboot of his 2014 film, Last Shift. It stars Jessica Sula, Eric Olson, and Cheney Morrow. A rookie police officer willingly takes the last shift at a newly decommissioned police station in an attempt to uncover the mysterious connection between her father's death and a vicious cult.
This way, rookie. Call's been rerouted to the new station, so it should be quiet. There's an emergency. The station's number's on the desk.
Shall be fine.
Now, a lot of people have been saying, oh, I liked Last Shift more, and that's fine. I'm not saying that this is better than Last Shift. To me, they're different films. Even though they tell basically the same story and the plot points are basically the same, they feel different. This one has more polish. It's more grimy. It's more gory and savage. The visuals are incredible in this. Either way, though, I think it deserves to get love as well. It deserves some recognition as well. I think if you watch this and just think about the fact that The Last Shift isn't going anywhere, it still exists as a movie, this in no way is undermining that. This is just doing its own thing. It's taking that story. It's the director's true vision of what he always wanted to do if he had the resources. And so now he has the resources, so he went all in and did this movie. And I think it's creepy as all hell with some visuals that'll get under your skin and just stick with you. This is a brutal, savage movie that I highly recommend. It Lives Inside is a 2023 supernatural horror movie. Written and directed by Bishal Dutta, it stars Megan Siri, Nero Bourgeois, and Mohana Krishnan. An Indian-American teenager struggling with her cultural identity has a falling out with her former best friend, and in the process unwittingly releases a demonic entity that grows stronger by feeding on her loneliness.
Tamira, what's going on with you?
All the stories we heard growing up, they're all true. It lives inside. Don't you hear it?
Now you gotta hear me out. This is a movie I do recommend, but it really didn't quite live up to what it could have been. This movie could have been really, really good and definitely one of my best movies of the year. But what held it back, strangely enough, was the creature design and how much they showed it, because it just didn't quite have the impact that I think they wanted it to. For one, they should have kept it in the shadows more, kept it more as this mysterious thing instead of showing you too much. And I felt like they showed too much. Because the movie itself, the story, the things that it's saying, the cultural difference that I found fascinating in this, like just in general, the way it's written, the story, the acting is really, really well done. Just all of the things are really well done, except for, like I said, the creature design, the way it looks in general. It just didn't quite work for me. For me, it felt a lot like so many other things we've been seeing lately. When you're talking about demonic entities, you know, these supernatural creature designs, they're starting to just kind of look the same. And it's not so much that they use CGI and not practical, because I'm sure they use some practical here. I don't know. I'm not an expert at that. It just didn't work. It's even hard for me to explain why, but it just didn't quite have the impact that I wanted it to. But it still is an entertaining movie. There's a lot to love here. And so I definitely recommend you give it a look.
Death is a disease. There's a cure.
The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster is a 2023 sci-fi horror movie. Written and directed by Bomani J. Story in his directorial debut. It stars Layla DeLeon Hayes, Denzel Whitaker, and Chad Coleman. Vicaria is a brilliant teenager who believes that death is a disease that can be cured. And after the brutal murder of her brother, she embarks on a dangerous journey to bring him back to life.
Death is the disease that broke my family. I'm sick of seeing it.
This is a movie I've mentioned quite a bit lately, so if you watch all my videos, you've probably heard me talk about it a lot. So I'm not going to talk at length about it, but I just think this movie is incredible in so many different ways. The acting is so well done. It's powerful. This movie just gets under your skin, I think, and just sticks with you. Just the whole story, the way that it takes the classic Frankenstein story and puts it in the modern day and makes it relevant to a world that we live in now, I think is impressively done. It's creepy and disturbing with some horrifying imagery. I think this movie is damn good and one you absolutely need to see.
The point of life, it isn't just one thing. What is the point?
Rebirth is a 2023 psychological horror movie, directed by Laura Moss in her directorial debut, from a screenplay by Moss and Brendan J. O'Brien. It stars Marin Ireland, Judy Reyes, and AJ Lister. A morgue technician successfully reanimates the body of a little girl, but to keep her breathing, she must harvest biological materials from pregnant women.
Do you remember a little girl who passed away last Friday? They say they don't have her. I'm trying to figure out what to tell the mother.
This is a dark, disturbing, very uncomfortable watch. It's one of those films that keeps you on the edge of your seat the entire time, just waiting to see what's going to happen, because you know that nothing good can come of the situation that's created in this. But you just don't know how bad it's going to get or what direction they're going to take it. It's not a fun movie. It's not a happy movie. It's a morose, dark, twisted kind of film. The directing, the acting, the way it's shot, the pacing of it, it's just a really, really well put together film. So in my opinion, this is definitely one of the best this year, especially when you're talking about independent horror. Candyland is a 2022 horror thriller, written and directed by John Schwab. It stars Owen Campbell, Olivia Liccardi, and Sam Quertin. A seemingly naive and devout young woman finds her way into the underground world of truck stop sex workers. But soon, things take a dark turn.
What are you doing back here? Are you okay?
Who's this?
She's from that weirdo cult.
I think they're gonna leave for heaven before the rest of us.
This is another one that really surprised me this year. It came out of nowhere. I just heard a few people on different podcasts or comments, a few people mention it here and there. I didn't hear much though about it, so I went into it pretty much blind. But I was floored on just how incredibly done this movie is. It's such a simple concept, but the way it's put together, the acting, the way these characters are developed, because they're sex workers, and you could easily have written this, the premise of it could easily be done into this grimy, dirty, low rate, like, you know, grindhouse kind of film, but it's not at all. It doesn't treat the characters in it like they're waste, like they're the dredges of society. Instead, it actually gives them character. It actually lets you get to know these people and see that what they do does not represent who they are. And they're actually really interesting people in this. I really liked everybody involved in this movie. All the characters are fantastic. And because of that, when violence starts and things start to take this dark turn, it has more stakes. And so it really takes you down with it into this dark spiral. And I think it's incredibly done. So if you're a fan of independent horror like I am, you need to see this one. The Offering is a 2022 supernatural horror movie, directed by Oliver Park from a story by Hank Hoffman and Jonathan Younger. It stars Nick Blood, Emily Wiseman, and Alan Cordunder. A family struggling with loss find themselves at the mercy of an ancient demon trying to destroy them from the inside out.
I may have found something.
It's on the knife.
It's an ancient voiding inscription, often the seal of a body containing a demon.
So once again, Hulu does it. I swear every year they put out a couple just fantastic independent movies. And this is another one, and I think it's really great. It's so full of mood and atmosphere and gets absolutely creepy as hell. It's one of those perfect horror movies for a cold winter night to just curl up on the couch with some coffee or tea and just shiver to. It's very twisted and surprising and goes places and does some things that not a lot of movies have the balls to do. I had a lot of fun with this, and I think you will as well. So if you're looking for a spooky, supernatural movie, this is a great pick.
And what should happen?
Infinity Pool is a 2023 sci-fi horror movie. Written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg, it stars Alexander Skarsgård, Mia Goth, and Cleopatra Coleman. The story focuses on a couple who are enjoying an all-inclusive beach vacation when a fatal accident exposes the resort's perverse subculture of hedonistic tourism, reckless violence, and surreal horrors.
Mr. James Foster, you'll have to come with us.
This was one of the first horror-ish movies to come out this year. And so I think a lot of people have kind of just forgotten it. It isn't really at the front of mind because there's been a bunch of other ones that have been, you know, the buzz of late. But I think that this is one that definitely deserves to be remembered when you're talking about this year. Now, I know this wasn't for everyone. It's very weird. It goes in some incredibly uncomfortable, bizarre directions. But that's what I love about Brandon Cronenberg, and that's what I loved about his father, David Cronenberg. Just their movies make you uncomfortable. They put you into strange scenarios and situations where you're not exactly sure how to feel. And so I think their form of film art is fantastic for that. But the visuals are stunning in this. The acting is on point. I thought Mia Goth was over the top, and a lot of people complained about it, but that's what made her great in this. She's supposed to be overbearing. She's supposed to be annoying and crass. Like, that's the whole point of the character that she's portraying. But I thought it was a great time. It's entertaining and, like I said, very uncomfortable. But it's definitely one of my favorite movies this year, especially if you're talking about independent horror.
Like you.
Talk to Me is a 2022 Australian supernatural horror movie. Directed by Danny and Michael Philippou in their feature directorial debut, with a concept by Daley Pearson. It stars Sophie Wilde, Alexandra Jensen, and Miranda Otto. When a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand, they become hooked on the thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces.
Talk to me.
This movie is so damn good. This is what I look forward to every year, as a horror movie like this that's fresh, unique, original, with some young creative filmmakers that are really kind of just doing things a little different. Everything about these two brothers is unique. From their channel on YouTube, Rocka Rocka, you could see, even back in the day when they were first starting out on there, that they had a different approach, a different way of seeing filmmaking. And it's just refreshing, and it really translates into this movie. It's creepy, it's uncomfortable, it's disturbing. The acting is fantastic, especially Sophie Wilde. Like, she really just captures your attention and doesn't let go. Just the way she performs in this, it's so emotional and driven. It really is an exceptional movie, and I love to see that it's gotten a lot of buzz and people excited about it. Because this is what we need in horror. This is this fresh future of horror. And I know it's not for everyone, nothing is. You don't have to love this. I did, and I know a lot of other people did as well, but to each is their own. But I think at the very least, you should respect what was done here and respect A24 for continuing to just put out these unique movies every year that not a lot of other studios would give a chance. So when I was putting this list together, this was a no-brainer. There's only one movie that I put above it.
Los tiempos de la fe se terminan rápido.
When Evil Lurks is a 2023 Argentine horror movie. Written and directed by Demian Rugna, it stars Ezekiel Rodriguez, Louis Dombrowski, and Emilio Vadovic. In a remote village, two brothers find a demon-infected man just about to give birth to evil itself. So they decide to get rid of the man and move the body, but merely succeed in helping him to deliver the inferno. So this is by far, when I talk about independent horror movies this year, my favorite. This movie has everything that I love about horror. It's dramatic, it's intense, it keeps you on the edge of your seat with just the most crazy scene after the next. It takes chances, it does things that you just never see horror movies do. On top of that, it tells you an incredibly unique story with these interesting rules and guidelines. It sets up this universe that's just different from anything I've ever seen. It's gory and savage and absolutely violent as hell. And it's one of those films that'll leave a mark on you after you've seen it. To me, this is an instant classic. To me, this is a movie that we'll be talking about 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and so on. And it's incredible to me that Demian Rugna also made the movie Terrified, which I was blown away by when I saw that as well. It's just so exciting to see these filmmakers, these young filmmakers, coming out with stuff like this. It just shows how bright the future of horror is, and that just puts goose pimples all over my arms. I'm telling you, that just makes me so excited. Just the creativity, the artistry, all of those things that go into these movies, this one in particular, but Talk to Me, just all the different independent horror movies that I talked about on this list. It just shows that horror is in a really, really good place. But with that being said, this movie is incredible, and if you have yet to see it, it's over on Shudder right now, so get your ass over there and check it out. But that's gonna do it for me today. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that is the best way to keep track of this channel. And when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this every single week, I also want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys absolutely mean the world to me. And if you would like to help support this channel, help keep the lights on around here, there's a link down in the description for Patreon. Or if you want to become a channel member and help support the channel that way, there's a button right down there that says join. It gets you early access as well as a few other little treats and things that hopefully I'll be doing more of in the future. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button, and remember guys, horror can be fun! And if you enjoyed this, click right here to see me talking about the 10 best original streaming horror movies this year. And I'll see you guys next time!